Hello there. Welcome to video 162 from Sumit Academy. I do hope that you have subscribed to my channel. Do subscribe now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. And do remember to like and share this video too. To make your task a little easier, here is a complete list of all the 162 videos available on my YouTube channel. The list is divided into the playlists under which they are available. Do have a look. In this video, we shall continue our study of the various security forces in the country and their mandate. In my earlier video, we have already had a look at the external security forces, that is, the Army, the Navy, and the Indian Air Force. We have also had a look at the four central paramilitary forces, the Indian Coast Guard, the Territorial Army, the Border Roads Organization, and the Assam Rifles. In this, the second video of our series, we now move on to the Central Armed Police Forces, the CAPF. This refers to a group of 6 police forces functioning under the aegis of the Ministry of Home Affairs. Let us examine the mandate of these forces. Please do note that this is not an authoritative version of the CAPF. For that, you must go to the respective websites of the security forces. This video will only give you a quick overview to help prepare you for any examination question, especially the civil services, where all answers are to be written in about 250 to 300 words only. Our first CAPF is the Border Security Force, the BSF. Till 1965, India's borders with Pakistan were manned by the State Armed Police Battalion. Pakistan attacked Sardar Post, Chharbet and Beria Bet on 9th April 1965 in Kutch. This exposed the inadequacy of the state armed police to cope with armed aggression, due to which the Government of India felt the need for a specially centrally controlled border security force, which would be armed and trained to man the international border with Pakistan. As a result, the Border Security Force came into existence on the 1st of December 1965 by merging 25 armed police battalions of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, and Madhya Pradesh. The BSF was initially modeled on the army pattern. Emergency commissioned officers released by the army after the 1962 and 1965 wars were inducted in the leadership role in the BSF. With a head count of 240,000 personnel, the BSF is the largest border security force in the world. It is the only CAPF with its own artillery, air, and marine wings. It presently guards the international border with Pakistan and Bangladesh. It has also deployed 4 battalions in Naxalite affected areas, and 2 have been converted into the National Disaster Response Force. The mandate of the BSF includes the following: to promote a sense of security among the people living in the border areas, to prevent trans-border crimes, unauthorized entry, that is infiltration into, or exit from the territory of India, that is exfiltration, and to prevent smuggling and any other illegal activity. Its mandate also includes deployment for counterinsurgency and internal security duties, holding ground in less threatened sectors, protection of vital installations, assistance in controlling refugees, maintenance of law and order in enemy territory, administered under the Army's control, guarding of prisoners of war camps, and performing special tasks connected with intelligence, including raids. We now come to the second CAPF, the Central Industrial Security Force, the CISF. This multi-skilled security force was formed on the 10th of March 1969 and was made an armed force of the Union on 15th of June 1983. It is thus a central armed police force. It provides security cover to all airports in the country, to the Delhi Metro, and to 300 industrial units and other establishments located all over India. These include atomic power plants, space installations, oil fields and refineries, major ports, heavy engineering, steel plants, barrages, fertilizer units, and hydroelectric and thermal power plants. It also provides consultancy and paid security services to private industries. A special security group was raised on 17th November 2006 to provide security to VIPs nominated in the X category by the Home Ministry. There are some reserved battalions which work with the state police to enforce law and order. CISF plays a major role in disaster management. Another unique aspect is a fire wing which helps during fire accidents in industries where CISF is on guard. Our third CAPF is the Central Reserve Police Force, or the CRPF. Originally constituted as the Crown Representative Police in 1939, Central Reserve Police Force is the premier central police force of the Union of India for internal security. It was raised as a sequel to the political unrest and the agitations in the then princely states of India following the Madras resolution of the All India Congress Committee in 1936 and the ever-growing desire of the Crown representative to help many of the native states to preserve law and order as a part of the imperial British policy. From the point of view of its functions and activities, CRPF has not only remained a police force for the mere purpose of helping states in their anti-dacoity operations and in maintaining internal law, but has expanded to include the fight against terrorism and insurgency. In the late 70s, when extremist elements disturbed peace in Tripura and Manipur, CRPF battalions were deployed there. Simultaneously, there was a turmoil in the Brahmaputra Valley. The CRPF had to be inducted in strength, not only to maintain law and order, but also to keep the lines of communication free from disruption. The commitments of the force continue to be extremely high in the Northeast and in dealing with insurgency. CRPF is mandated to perform the following duties. Let's have a look at them. Crowd control, riot control, counter-militancy insurgency operations, dealing with left-wing extremism, and overall coordination of large-scale security arrangements, especially with regard to elections in disturbed areas. It is also responsible for the protection of VIPs and vital installations, checking environmental degradation and protection of local flora and fauna, fighting aggression during wartime, participating in UN peacekeeping missions, and rescue and relief operations at the time of natural calamities. Rapid Action Force (RAF) is a specialized wing of the CRPF. Established on 11th December 1991, it became fully operational in October 92 and deals with riots, riot-like situation, crowd control, rescue and relief operations, and related unrest. Increasing communal tensions and riots during the early 90s had been putting a serious strain on the secular structure of Indian society. The government therefore decided to set up a special anti-riot force which could reach the place of occurrence with the quickest possible speed and deal with communal riots or riot-like situations in an objective and non-partisan manner. Raised by converting 10 existing battalions of the CRPF, the Rapid Action Force has to act in zero response time and for short spells only. In between spells of duty, the force undertakes intensive familiarization exercises in communally sensitive areas. Next, Commando Battalions for Resolute Action. Long name for a popular short form, that is the COBRA, are specialized battalions which became operational during 2008-2009. They are trained and equipped for commando operations against left-wing extremism and are capable of undertaking intelligence-based quick operations. Special Duty Group SDG is an elite CRPF unit tasked to provide armed protection to SPG protected places. They are trained in combating nuclear and biochemical attacks, rescue operations, and behavioral management. Parliament Duty Group PDG is also an elite CRPF unit tasked to provide armed protection to Parliament House. Formed in 2001 in the aftermath of the Parliament terror attack, They are trained in combating nuclear and biochemical attacks and in rescue operations. The PDG has distinct units of security personnel, communications experts, quick reaction teams, and medical staff. Our fourth CAPF is the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, or the ITBP. It was raised in 1962 after the war with China. At the time, the situation in the border area was so bad that all the tribals living there were cut off from the rest of the country. The government therefore decided to raise a special force to keep vigil on the Indo-China border. Presently, ITBP is deployed on border guarding duties from the Karakoram Pass in Ladakh to Jachepla in Arunachal Pradesh, covering 3,488 kilometers of Indo-China border and manning border outposts on altitudes ranging from 9,000 feet to 18,700 feet in the western, middle, and eastern sector of the Indo-China border. It was initially set up as an integrated intelligence, signal, pioneer, engineering, medical, and most important, guerrilla unit, and was placed under the Intelligence Bureau for operational control. Besides checking illegal immigration and trans-border crimes, it provides security, communication, and medical assistance to pilgrims visiting Mount Kailash and Lake Mansarovar in Tibet. It is also the nodal agency for disaster management in the central and western Himalayan region. Being a specialized mountain force, most of the officers and men are professionally trained mountaineers and skiers, besides being trained in disaster management and nuclear, biological, and chemical disasters. Being the first responder for natural disaster in the Himalayas, ITBP has been carrying out numerous rescue and relief operations. Our fifth CAPF is the Sashastra Seema Bal. The Special Service Bureau, abbreviated as SSB, was set up on 20th of December 1963, following the Sino-Indian War. The primary task of the force was to provide armed support for the Research and Analysis Wing RAW, India's foreign intelligence agency. Its primary purpose was also to counter acts of aggression by the People's Liberation Army of China. The previous thinking had been that militarily the Chinese were superior to India, and in the event of a war, the Chinese might attempt to overwhelm Indian forces. In the event of such an attempt by the Chinese to invade and occupy Indian territory, the SSB was mandated to merge with the border population, donning civilian attire, working a parallel administration, and carry out the war with the help of guerrilla tactics. Its secondary objective was to inculcate feelings of national belonging in the border population and assist them in developing their capabilities for resistance through a continuous process of motivation, training, development, welfare programs, and activities. From the cabinet, the SSB was transferred to the Ministry of Home Affairs in January 2001 and assigned the duties of manning the Nepal and Bhutan borders. This was done after the Kargil War with the adoption of the one border, one force concept. Its present mandate is to prevent cross-border crime and smuggling and other anti-national activities. It has been conferred with certain powers under the Criminal Procedure Code of 1973, the Arms Act of 1959, the NDPS Act of 1985, NDPS, the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act, and the Passport Act of 1967. Our sixth CAPF is the Railway Protection Force. Now, this comes under the Ministry of Railways and not the Ministry of Home Affairs. It is entrusted with protecting railway passenger areas and railway property of the Indian Railways. This is the only central armed police force which has the power to arrest, investigate, and prosecute criminals. The Railway Protection Force Act was enacted by Parliament on 29th of August 1957 to set up an integrated, well-organized force on the model of the police. It is specially trained to meet the particular aspects of crime relevant to railway property, and it works in close collaboration with and acts as a second line to the state police forces, who under the Constitution of India are responsible for policing the railways. So you see, this gave birth to two police forces looking after the railways: the Railway Protection Force and the Government Railway Police. So what is the difference between the RPF and the GRP? The Railway Protection Force RPF and the GRP, Government Railway Police, have different functions. The primary responsibility of RPF is to safeguard and protect railway property and premises from damage or sabotage, and to investigate incidents of vandalism, theft, etc. of Indian railway assets and property entrusted to it, that is, freight. The GRP, on the other hand, is a police organization under the control of the state government in each state, and its primary mission is the maintenance of law and order and ensuring passenger safety on board trains and on Indian railway property. Thus, the GRP concerns itself with robberies or other criminal incidents on board trains or on railway premises, missing persons, injuries or deaths in connection with the railways, and has police powers in each state to arrest persons and register criminal cases. The common perception is that RPF is responsible for all aspects of railway security. However, this is not the case. RPF shares its duties with the Government Railway Police and the District Police and functions based on what is supposed to be a finely demarcated legal line. The fundamental duty of GRP is the maintenance of order on railway stations and trains. Order here is defined as control of passenger traffic within station premises, especially on platforms, in booking offices, waiting halls, at entrance and exit gates, and wherever specially required in emergencies by the station officials. It also includes control of vehicular and other traffic in station precincts, maintenance of order in passenger trains halted at stations, and prevention of overcrowding in carriages, supervision of loaded passenger trains standing in stations, and arrest of persons guilty of committing nuisance, removal of persons suffering from infectious diseases, and keeping the station premises clear of beggars. The GRP is also responsible for examination of empty carriages on arrival at terminal stations for property left behind by the passengers and inspection of carriages with a view to seeing that fittings have not been tampered with, and removal of bodies of persons who die in trains or on station premises, and conveyance to hospital of sick passengers. Additionally, GRP is tasked with accidents and crime inquiry, prevention and detection of crime on railways, and general public assistance. The official role of the RPF, on the other hand, is threefold. Firstly, to protect railway property and passenger areas. Secondly, to ensure safety, security in trains to boost the confidence of the traveling public. And thirdly, to coordinate security related activities between the various agencies involved. Under the Railway Property Unlawful Possession Act 1966, RPF has the power to prosecute individuals with illegal possession of railway property. Section 29 of the Railways Act gives RPF legal backing to prosecute individuals involved in unauthorized activities in trains and station premises. That is, alarm chain pulling, unauthorized vending or hawking, unauthorized entry into ladies and reserved compartments, etc. So now you know the difference between the GRP and the RPF. In very simple words, and to put a little humor into the situation, if somebody robs you, you go to the GRP. But if you rob the Indian Railways, if you steal anything from the Indian Railways, then you will be chased and caught by the RPF. Hope you understand the difference now. Well, that is all from me in this video. In our third and fourth videos of this series, we shall have a look at the Special Forces and the Central Intelligence and Investigative Agencies. This video is based on the information freely available on the internet. No originality is claimed for the same. The intention of this video is only to prepare candidates for answering examination questions on the subject and not for any financial gain. Do like and share this video, and do subscribe to my channel now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. And do remember that you must subscribe, like, and share. Till later then, cheerio.